Fellow citizens of the Caribbean, the Caribbean community is not small. The total area of the community exceeds 462,000 square kilometers, making it larger than Sweden. My own country, Guyana, is bigger than the combined land area of the island states. The community's three continental states, Belize, Guyana, and Suriname, when combined, are larger than Japan. The Caribbean has the land. It has the human expertise. It can mobilize the capital. These are all necessary to guarantee regional food security and its four elements: access, availability, utilization, and stability. It can produce food for all. Food security is essential to ensuring economic growth, the elimination of extreme poverty, increased rural incomes, and improved nutrition. Food security is a central focus of the Caribbean agricultural policy. It can reduce CARICOM's annual food import bill, which now stands at over $4.5 billion. I noted in my address to the 28th intersessional meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, held in Georgetown, Guyana in February 2017, that regional security can be advanced, and I quote, by the fuller utilization of our lands for large-scale investment in agriculture and agro-processing, and by dismantling barriers to regional trade in agricultural products. End of quote. I would like to see greater progress in one area more than any other, in the stimulation of increased intra-regional investment in agriculture and production of food. I believe that food security is achievable. We can reduce the region's food import bill, guarantee economic resilience, ensure better nutrition, and provide food for all. I thank you.
There are some important steps you can be taking now to prepare your home and family for the storm season. Cut back overgrown trees and remove dead branches and debris. Don't leave excess outdoor furniture unsecured in the yard. Chairs, bikes, and children's toys can all become missiles in high winds. Check your roof by securing loose tiles, fix any leaks, and clear the gutters. Prepare your family by organising where you will go if your home isn't habitable, and where you'll meet if a storm hits when you're out and about. Include enough water and non-perishable food to sustain your family for 3 days. Also, include essential medication, a torch, radio and spare batteries, a change of clothes, and any special items you might need for babies or pets. Protect your home and family by ensuring insurance is up to date and know what you're covered for in the event of a storm.
there are winners and there are losers from cheaper imports. And for the consumer, it is a better deal to be able to buy less expensive food. But if you take it to the extreme, people have to have a source of income to buy any food. And if there's not production happening in Jamaica, then people aren't going to have any income to buy, or much income at all to buy anything. And so you could think of it from the farmer's perspective, that people have lost their source of income. And so what good is it to them if the food in the marketplace is cheaper, unless there's some other endeavor into which they can go to earn the money that it would take to buy the imported food. So yeah, I guess it's a short-run gain for low-income consumers. Many economists are concerned that the Jamaican economy is becoming a place that doesn't produce much of anything. Well, if you take the example of the imported food, I mean, obviously, recently there have been big spikes in food prices, and the Food and Agricultural Organization and relief organizations have talked about how many people have been pushed into poverty and malnutrition because food has become more expensive. And so clearly, if you've given up your domestic agricultural sector, if mostly it's gone, it's disappeared, then you're very vulnerable to what happens in other countries. I mean, I think that a lot of people think of food as a different sort of product. It's so basic to human survival that people want to know that they can produce the food they themselves or their community or their nation would need to survive. You don't want to feel that you're depending on other people to have the food you need to survive.
It affects it because like a degree change in the temperature on one side, it actually it upsets the balance of things. So whether it might not diversely affect the crop, it might affect some pesticides. A lot of the animals, the insects that we are used to, for example, when we were growing up, like Jack Spaniards, gone. Yeah. Dragonflies, scarce. That's reflected the shift in the balance of things. Yeah. There's no answers for it. You know what I mean? And you get to a stage in life now where you're having more questions than answers. And then, wow, imagine this time of year, even in America, there's no in between anymore. Yeah. It's from one extreme to the next. You understand what I'm saying? In the middle of spring, when it's supposed to be 50 degrees or something like that, you have the extremity of 89 degrees, 90 degrees in the middle of April. Yeah. Then, now the crops themselves have to adjust to that, and everything is thrown out of whack. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, even up there have farmers now that up to this point in time, they're waiting for the moderation in the temperatures and stuff like that, so they could put their crops in the ground. That's not going to happen, so they put it in late. Then that encourages them now to add accelerants into the growing period, that is pesticides and more preservatives and additives and stuff like that, which is known to be not good for consumption. Altered the whole ecosystem of everything. So you have higher rivers, higher washes down, and a lot of debris coming down, and you have a lot of soil erosion. Yeah. That river tops up? Oh yeah, it comes up pretty high. It comes up to about where we are, just about where we are. That's why when we did the infrastructure, we raised the retaining wall up in the front a little higher, just to give us a little additional protection.
I have not been doing this for a very long time. Basically, when I lived in the States, I had a backyard garden, kitchen garden. Every year, Mother's Day, my husband would plant me a garden and I would tend to it. And this was a gift to me from my dad. And we decided we were thinking about moving back, settling here for our older years. So this was something that I enjoy doing. And my husband knew the only way he would get me to move here, now, is if I had something to occupy me. So this farm has been occupying me for about the past 8 months. When we came here, this farm was a mess. All of the tall grass you see behind me and alongside, this was what was here. And this is one of the most difficult grasses to control. So we invested some money and had it, some people come in with machines and cleared all of that heavy duty grass that we couldn't even walk through to be able to get this place ready for planting the crops. That was an investment, a big investment actually. I had no idea how to get started. So I questioned a few farmers and I got a few ideas from them. I introduced myself to the people in the agriculture wind band building, and I immediately got a farmer's license, even though I was not a farmer. But I got one because I did the required class. And then we decided we wanted to do potatoes because we understood that this was the crop that is most prolific here. We started a crop with help from a few farmers, and potatoes they grow very well here. And it's a short-term crop, basically a 3-month crop. So we were able to see a turnaround really quickly. Now, as you can see, almost 80% of the farm is potatoes. That's the main crop. But I'm experimenting with other crops that I think will do very well here, and crops that are not really indigenous to St. Lucia, primarily. And I've been happy with the results because we've tried things like radish and kohlrabi and different types of lettuces that people just haven't had here. So I have been working with that, and that's how we've
In Grenada, after the hurricanes of 2004 wiped out much of the agriculture, we supported rural farmers to recover and develop sustainable, more productive farming.
My name is Michael Gabriel. I'm from Telescope St. Andrews, and I'm a livestock farmer. After the hurricane, I lost roughly about 13 head of goat. I lost 2 cows. I see it as at a great loss.
I'm Bowen Louison. I'm the Chief Veterinary Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Grenada. We reached out for help, and then the Commonwealth offered to help us, obviously with some technical input and to have a consultant on Grenada that could help to rebuild the livestock industry.
My name is Penel Mwasha. I'm the Commonwealth's livestock consultant for Grenada. Before I came here, I was working with the livestock for almost 30 years as in the Ministry of Agriculture in Tanzania. I had to lay down the training program, especially the training of the farmers. If you look at Grenada, most of the livestock products are being imported. For example, 90% of the chicken is imported here, and they could easily produce the chicken. So if you can make the farmer understand how to do the husbandry and the management of these animals, surely we shall improve the productivity and also the livelihood of the families. When I teach them or we do the practical training, they're really hungry for knowledge.
I'm trying to develop skills, and I think the training helping me a lot. It's going to make a big difference, because all I'm saying is that, whatever you do, you got to have the know-how. You might try yourself, but you could have failure. But when you have the know-how, then you know how to go about with things.
We see livestock as regaining its rightful place in the agricultural development. The Commonwealth is one of the key institutions that is assisting us. In terms of a resident consultant, we only have the Commonwealth, so we're grateful for that.
I can see the world is one small village now, whereby somebody from Tanzania will come to Grenada and just work comfortably as though he's at home. And I feel it, personally, I feel it that there is a familyhood in the whole thing. And I'm very proud of that.
But I am pleased to offer these remarks to this Caribbean Coastal Resilience Forum. On behalf of the people and the government of the Bahamas, welcome to our shores. Our environment is an integrated ecosystem consisting of wetlands, coral reefs, lakes and rivers, and pristine sandy beaches. There could not be a more appropriate time for the IUDP to have this dialogue with its Caribbean members. The world has been shaken and touched by the devastation wrought by monster storms in our region, and indeed all coastal communities, including those of the continental United States.
Mean sea level rise of a single meter, so about 3 feet, could place 36% of major tourism properties, 38% of airports, 14% of road networks, and 90% of seaports at risk. We recognize the increasingly complex and devastating impact of climate change on sustainability in this region, especially on small island developing states.
Without being directly hit, there was an average of 2% of our GDP in terms of loss and damage. And so therefore, we can only imagine with a direct hit the level of damage and loss that we will experience.
We have to do something about increasing the resilience of Caribbean populations living on the coast to some of the new hazards that we are experiencing.
62,000 people every single day are displaced by climate. And if nature is a solution, we're going to figure out what it is and how to pay for it. Nature reduces risk.
It's about data, it's about science, it's about understanding the natural processes now and in the future. It's about understanding the hazards and the risks that presents and the vulnerabilities.
In Belize, coastal habitats were found to prevent erosion over 340 kilometers, resulting in average avoided damages of 2.5 billion a year.
Une aire marine protégée, comme les aires terrestres protégées, a des bénéfices divers, tant au point de vue écologique, culturelle et scientifique qu'au point de vue social et économique. Alors, au point de vue écologique, par exemple, c'est quand on prend les mangroves que l'on protège au niveau des zones côtières, ça sert à séquestrer le carbone, le CO2, et ça produit également de l'oxygène. Ça nous aide à casser l'énergie des vagues de la mer. Ça aide également à la reproduction des espèces animales et marines. C'est déjà très important.
Mangroves are reducing flooding damages every year by 25% across the Philippines. And that's not just to property, that's to people, and it's in particular to the most socially vulnerable people as well. With just a 1 meter loss in reefs, the costs of storms would double on those coastlines. So reefs are providing really significant benefits, and we can quantitatively value them.
We should be constantly seeking to, one, learn entirely new methods and apply novel solutions, and as well to further optimize and refine existing capabilities, embracing innovative technology, its attendant efficiency gains, as well as the capture, analysis, and application of big and dynamic data.
New technologies provide essential data and reduce collection and analysis time by 80%.
The methodology is using data from previous hurricanes. We can validate the present losses, and now using the urban growth scenarios or using the climate change scenarios, we can evaluate how much will be the losses in the future.
Hybrid solutions can bring to a project and to even a region in a country that blend of risk and costs which are tolerable. And so I think there's a need for bringing this concept across again to all planners or regulators or engineers or politicians.
Satellite-based topography of the territory. This is a new boy in the block. It's exciting, and I think we should find a way to build capacity in the region to access that.
Anyone that is impacted by that process must be engaged at all levels. It's about having an honest and open dialogue and conversation with these stakeholders. It's about viewing them as partners and not just as stakeholders to be consulted with.
It's really important the way we talk to the private sector, the way that we approach the private sector, and the way that we encourage the private sector to become involved.
There is a considerable amount of accumulated experience in ICCM within the region. Resilience is a regional mandate, and the different ICCM programs in the region can learn from one another and share regional best practices. To strengthen this regional cooperation, we must forge innovative partnerships with the private sector.
IDB's vision for the Caribbean is to improve lives by creating vibrant, sustainable economies where people are safe, productive, and happy.
There are some important steps you can be taking now to prepare your home and family for the storm season. Cut back overgrown trees and remove dead branches and debris. Don't leave excess outdoor furniture unsecured in the yard. Chairs, bikes, and children's toys can all become missiles in high winds. Check your roof by securing loose tiles, fix any leaks, and clear the gutters. Prepare your family by organising where you will go if your home isn't habitable, and where you'll meet if a storm hits when you're out and about. Include enough water and non-perishable food to sustain your family for 3 days. Also, include essential medication, a torch, radio and spare batteries, a change of clothes, and any special items you might need for babies or pets. Protect your home and family by ensuring insurance is up to date and know what you're covered for in the event of a storm.
Climate change demands that we act now. The emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere is already causing temperature increases, droughts and floods, rises in sea levels, and glacier melt. According to figures from 2011, Latin America and the Caribbean produce only 9% of the planet's contaminating emissions, but the region is particularly vulnerable to the effects, especially in Central America and the Caribbean. The greatest risks are posed to agricultural production, water availability, forest and biodiversity preservation, tourism in coastal areas, and population health and poverty. Preliminary estimates indicate that if the temperature rises by 2.5 degrees Celsius compared to the historical average, the economic costs of climate change could amount to between 1.5% and 5% of the region's current gross domestic product, GDP. On the other hand, the costs of taking the steps needed to avoid the effects of climate change are estimated to be below 0.5% of the regional GDP. These studies offer enough evidence for decision-making. It is urgent that we invest in sustainable infrastructure, in more and better public services and renewable energies, considering that such an investment is the bridge that connects our present with the future we want. Beyond these steps, only a global agreement based on the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities, along with a change in production and consumption patterns, will allow the region to confront climate change and move towards a new model of sustainable development with equality. Latin America and the Caribbean is still in time.